I'm sharing my screen. So in the previous class, we have started with the CSS styling, and we have gone through a few of the concepts like how to include the CSS in your HTML, like internal CSS, uh, inline CSS, and using the external CSS like separate files. And we also gone through a few of the CSS concepts. So today we'll be continuing from there. So yesterday we have stopped at CSS text. So we'll continue with like CSS fonts and other concepts. So I'll just uh, use some random text. Like maybe. So if you type lorem and uh, press the enter button, you'll get a dummy text in HTML. So you can use this for testing purpose. So, so I'll save this, and if I go to my browser, you can see the text is being rendered. So I'll just include the styles using the font family. I'll just target the H2 element here. So we have an attribute called font family, font size, font weight, font family, font style, font display. So all these features. So we'll be using these features frequently in development purpose. So I'll just select font family, and you can see the suggestions in VS Code. Like you can use multiple styles, like families as per your requirement, like Times New Roman, uh, and all other different family. I'll just select this one. So if I save this, you can see your particular text is being rendered to a different style compared to previous. So in this way, you can access the styles, and we also have like font size for giving the size of your text. It will be like large, larger, medium, small, smaller. So you can select as per your requirement. I'll just go with the medium one, or you can also give like pixels, maybe like 20 pixels, something like this. I'll just save this, and you can see the size of your text is being decreased compared to previous one. And I'll just give font weight. Font weight is like to give the boldness of your text, like you want light or bold or based on the thing. I'll just show you, like if I give like maybe like 400, it would be like quite light. So it is like a light in weight. So I'll try to give 700. You can see the bold, it would be like quite bold. So similarly, you can change your weight of your font, and you also have like font style. So in font style, you'll be having like italic, normal, oblique, and so on. So I'll just use a random one like italic, and I'll just save this. You can see all your text is being italicized. So this way you can use the font styles, or like font family. And we also have a shorthand notation for this font. Like you can directly give all these things in. I'll just comment this. Sorry. Do anyone have any doubts in this? Okay. We can do like, it will be like 20 pixel. The first comes the size and the font family. You can give like anything. And it would be like font size. And I'll just give some random. Just give italic. Okay. And the font weight would be here like bold or 706, and whatever you want the bold size you can give. And you can give the size of the font like 20 pixels or 30 pixels. And you can give the font. I'll just give short, yeah, style of the name. So I'll just save this. You can see all these things is reflected to this particular element. So in this way, you can give the font in a particular line as well. So this is the usage of font. Like you'll be frequently using like font family, font size, font weight, and font style. So if you know about this. And next we'll go to links. I'll just remove this. In HTML, if you want to use navigations or links, you can use like anchor tag. Anchor tag is A. So this requires an source. I'll just write here. So you require an href. Href is like a reference of that particular thing where it need to navigate to. I'll just use any random thing here. Some dummy thing. Just go here. Just copy this. Paste the random link here. I'll just go to, once I save this, you can see just increase the size. You can see a link to Google is being rendered here. And once you click on that, you will be redirected to that particular page. And so we'll try to design this link tag here. I'll just go to this and I'll just remove this. I'll just add this thing. And we have like multiple pseudo elements. Pseudo elements is like a special type of elements which gives an enhanced style to the particular element. So these pseudo elements will start with colon, and you can see once you type colon, you will have a list of elements like active, blank, check, define, default. So you will be having so many like first child, focus, and so many other things you can explore while you are developing any of the things. Last child and so on. So all these are like pseudo elements. You will be using as per your requirement and particular task. So I'll just use this. This will give like special enhancement to your particular element. I'll just add the pseudo element called link. So I'll just give a random color, maybe color red. So just I have clicked this link, but at the beginning of your element, you will have this particular. I just Yahoo different thing. Okay, I have visited these links, so it's being not displayed in a particular color. I'll just remove all these two things. Uh, just I'll give a slash page. So at the beginning, you can see the color of the anchor is like red color. So once you click on that red color anchor tag, you will see the change of the color from red to green. I'll just click this. So you can see the color has changed from red to green, and you can also use like hover. Hover is used for hovering your mouse button, like mouse icon on that particular thing. I'll just use like maybe black. So if you hover on that particular link, you can see the color as black. See, while I'm trying to hover on that particular link, you will try to change the color of this thing. And the other thing is like active is like the selected link. Suppose you have like 10 to 15 links on the nav bar. So if you want one particular home or title has to be default in selection, then you can use this active button, active tag. This will be like blue. So since we are not making it as an active, so this won't be reflecting here. So if you have like in navbar multiple anchor tags and you want to make a specific anchor tag to be active, then you can use this. So this is the usage of anchor tags and how you can design using like hover, visited link and so on. So I'm just going quite fast so that we'll try to cover maximum concepts as we have a less amount of time. So next we'll go through the list concept. In previous, we have seen the list, ordered list, unordered list. So we'll try to design any of the thing. We'll try to make use of. So I'll just use CLI into 3. This is one of the shortcut. You can use the asterisk and into 3 or into n, where n is the number of items you want. I'll just type here. You'll see 3 numbers is being displayed here. I'll just enter coffee, tea, milk. I'll just save this. So you can see the coffee, tea, and milk is being displayed here. So with using CSS, you can control the uh, design of this thing as well. I'll just remove this and try to use this. We have a attribute called list style type where you can give the type as circle, decimal, or whatever thing you want. I'll just give circle. By default, you have like a dark circle with a rounded circle. I'll just give some Roman, maybe Alpha Roman. I'll just save so you can see ABC. So similarly, you can use the type for different types you want to access, and you can also give maybe square. So you can see the round is being changed to the square type. So this is one thing. And if you want like a Romans or some other types, you can use these things as well. So you can explore these by using the different random styles for the particular thing. I'll just go this. So I'm just showing one random example so that it would be visible to you. So we have another property like a display. Display is an important property. So I'll just make one random element. Uh, just show you. So we have gone through like a concept called block level element and inline element. So by default, some elements like headings, paragraph, and a few other things are block level, and the other elements like input, span, and strong EM. So all these elements are inline elements. So by using display property, we'll try to modify those changes as well. I'll create a span. Just use another one dummy. I'll just save this. You can see the block level element will take the entire width of your browser, and the inline elements would be wrapped around each cell. So I'll just try to modify by using the display property here. This is one. So by default, H1 is display block. I'll try to use the same concept, but you won't see any of the change here. So by default, it will be like display block. If I make it like inline, so once I save this, You can see the block level element is modified from block level to inline. So in this way, you can control the display of that element as well. So by default, the span is like in inline. You can make the span as block as well. So I'll just save this. You can see the block, the span elements are taking the entire width now. So by this way, you can uh, modify the property of that element for displaying. And you have another thing, important thing, like display none. Display none is like if you want nothing to be displayed in that particular page. So I am providing the span as display none. If you see here, the span element is being not rendered here by the browser because it is being hidden by the browser. So this is usage of display none. If you want some dynamic sections in real time, you will be having dynamic things. So based on the condition, you want to display those things or hide those things. So you will be using the display none and display block or inline as per your requirement. This is one thing. And you will be also having a concept called display flex. Flex will be going through in a separate class because this flex is also an important concept, and it would take some more amount of time. So we'll be giving the flex concepts a separate day so that we'll have a much understanding of that. I'll just remove these things. And the next one important thing is like positions. So okay, I'll try to use these things as well. Use. So I'm just using some dummy data here. And once I save this, you can see it is being rendered. Now we have like positions. There are like 5 positions, like position static, position relative, position absolute, position fixed, and position sticky. So we'll go through each of them. Like I'll just go through. We have H1 and P. By default, the position would be static. So I'll just use position static. So if I save, nothing won't be the reflected because by default the style will be like static. So this is one thing. So all the text that are being rendered in the HTML by the browser, by default it would have like style called position static. So if you want to change that to any of the thing, you can make use of these positions. So and the other thing is like relative. So mainly the positions are used like if you want to um, make your element to shift from one position to other positions. For example, I'll just show you in a paint. So consider this is the space taken by H1 and this is the space taken by P element. I'll just make like H1. So this position relative and position absolute would be quite confusing at the beginning, but I'll just uh, I'm just making as simple as possible to make you understand. So consider 2 elements like H1 and the P tag. So position relative is like uh, it will make the element to jump from that particular position to other thing, like I'll make use of this. So the space that is occupying by the H1 would be allocated to the H1 itself. No other element can occupy the space given to that H1 by the browser. So by using position as relative, you can jump to this position, or you can jump to this position, or you can jump to this position, or you can jump to this position. But this entire space that is being allocated to this H1 would not be occupied by P or any other element. So for better understanding, I'll just go through the demo as well. But before that, I am just giving a simple example. Like you have an H1. So if you give the element position as relative, the space that is occupied by H1 would be taken by the H1 itself. No other element would occupy the space given to that H1. And you can jump to any of the positions, top, left, right, bottom. So I'll make this H1 as relative now. So I'll just give any left. maybe 30 pixels. So you can see a space is being created here. Uh, it is like the space that is allocated to this particular H1 element is not being overlapped by this P or any other elements, but you can make this particular text to jump between left, right, top, bottom. I'll just move this to, I'll just give a class name as title. Make use of this thing. Now just I'll give like 70 pixel left and I'll give like right 20 pixel. So this gives right 20 pixel of space. If you see here, the first element is title. I have moved left as 70 pixel here. And if the content is being increased in the right side, it would be like 20 pixel of right. And coming to the next H1, the second block level 2, you will have left as 30 pixel. So in this way, you can jump between. I'll just try to inspect this. So if you try to inspect this particular space that is allocated to this H1 would be to it itself, and you can jump between front, left, right, or bottom. So while going through position absolute, you'd be getting much more understanding. I'll just remove this. So this is the thing. And if I give, I'll just make this p tag as position absolute. You can see before that, I'll just save this. Now you can see H1, and P are aligned in the top to bottom order. Now I'll just try to make position absolute for P element and I'll try to give top as 0. Now you can see what happens here. So if I give here, you can see the particular text is being wrapped to the top of 0. So going to the paint, I'll just select this. So position absolute is like if you have allocated a space for this particular element P, then if you give like position as display, I mean position as absolute, then this particular space would be uh, occupied by some other elements which are in the next row. For example, I'll just add some other text here, maybe H2, H3. So I'll try to remove this. I'll just comment this. So if you see here, each element is given a particular I mean space allocation by the browser. So once you can see here the p tag is given the space, and below that you have this h1 and like h2 and h2. If you give the position as absolute, this particular text would be moved to the particular position where you have given like top 0, bottom 0, or left 0, right 0. And the space that is occupied by this particular element would be taken by this new hello and other elements which are in the bottom. So this way you won't have space for this position absolute. Whereas coming to position relative, the space that is occupied by this particular element would be given to that element only if it is uh, but in position absolute, this would be overlap. I'll just make this thing. I'll save here. You can see this particular paragraph is being moved to the top. You can also change this like bottom 0. I'll just send this to bottom. You can see here the particular paragraph element is pushed to the bottom. The space occupied previously by the paragraph is below the block level 2, but now that particular place is being occupied by the other elements that are below of that. So this way you can use of position absolute if you want to switch your uh, content somewhere in the field. So this is one thing, and we also have position fix. So position fixed is like if you want to make something fixed in the browser, in the page, you can use this thing. I'll just uh, I'll try to make this speed. So I have some text here. I'll just try to make the scroll bar. I'll add. You can see here I have added some dummy element here. So I'll try to make this particular box as a fixed static. I mean fixed. So I'll just make use of this one, paragraph one. Position as fixed and top 0. So once I save this, this particular element would be fixed here, and all other elements can be scrolled under that element. So this particular paragraph would be fixed to that particular browser or any of the window that you open, but all other elements would be scrollable, like you can move under that. So this is the usage of using fixed. So fixed will be used by you in some of the pages where you want header to be displayed as a fixed element in your page, and you want all other elements to be scrollable. So at that case, you can use this fixed position fixed. And you also have like position static sticky. So sticky. So position sticky is like uh, all other elements would be movable, but if you give something, I'll just try to show you. So at present, this all elements will be rendered in the page effectively. But when you move to the top 0, then this particular element for which you have given the sticky would be stick to that uh, the position where you have given. So these also used as a header in few of the web pages. So you can see something you would like to scroll, and once it reach that particular styling, then all other elements would be scrollable, and it would be stick to that particular position. So this is position sticky. So I'll just give maybe 10 pixel height. So when this particular paragraph reaches the height as 10 pixels, so it will calculate the distance from top to here. So if it reaches like 10 pixels here, then it will start sticking to that particular page. So I'll just slowly scroll this. So now it has reached 10 pixels, and from there it will stick to that page, and all other elements would be like scrollable. So this is the difference between position fixed and position sticky. So this is like concept regarding these positions. So it would be quite confusing at the beginning. Like once you try to explore these things, then it would be easy to understand. So the thing, and next we'll go to overflow. Overflow is used like if you want this particular thing to have a scroll bars or horizontal vertical scroll bars or something to be rendered, so you can use this overlap functionality. I'll just use overflow, and you can use scroll. You can see a scroll bar is being visible here in the top, in the left and the bottom. I'll just make this text so that you can you. I'll just use some random data here. And if you want the scroll bar to be like horizontal, you can give like scroll X. And you want in Y direction, you can give like scroll Y. So based on your requirements, so I just use scroll X. I just remove this. We don't have these things here. I'll just give one background color. Now you can see here, I have decreased. So you can see the scroll bar that you can scroll the items from top to bottom. And if you decrease the, if you have large, like huge amount of content, if you want to control that using height and width, you can use this horizontal scroll bar as well. So this is use case of overflow. So you can use it similarly for setting your scroll on some other elements. So this is one of the use case of overflow. And we have other concepts like combinators. So just try to remove this for convenience. Beginning, I'll give one div, and inside div, I'll be giving one paragraph like inside div. So if you want to, suppose you have like 10, 3, I'll just take an example. So if you want to color an element that is present inside the div block, then without giving like style or class ID, you can directly uh, access the that element and you can style it using CSS. For that, I'll just tag this div tag, and inside div, uh, if I write like div, and inside div, I want to color or I want to make styles of all the P elements, then this way you can write like div and space and P. So whatever element you want to give the styling, you can directly use like div is the parent and the space and all the child should be colored or I mean styled. So I'll just give a color. So you can see here all the elements that are inside the div are being colored. So this way you can make use of all the children that is present in a parent. And if you want only a specific person or the first element to be colored or to be styled, you can use this greater than symbol. Greater than symbol is like immediate child. It represents like this is an immediate child. So once I save this, this particular element is being, I'll just add some other things here. Maybe another div. Inside this, I have another P. Stud pair. This, I'll just rename it to some other thing. Present all the elements that are present in the div with a name P will be colored here. So if you give this greater than symbol, then immediate childs will be colored. So you can see here this P, 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 and these three P's are immediate children of this particular div. But inside this div, you have another section called section tag, and inside that also you have like P, but this won't be affected now because this is not an immediate child of this div. So I'll just save this. You can see only the three is being colored and the last one is not being. So this is not the immediate child. So if you want to target the immediate child, you can use this uh, greater than symbol. So this is one of the combinators. And you have like a sibling selector as well. So I just make use of some, just try to be more things. Adjacent sibling selectors. So you have a div, and inside the div you have like three tags. I have a separate p tag here. So if you want to color the, just make this thing. I save this. So before that, I'll try to explain you. So we have a div tag here. Inside the div, we have some paragraph tags, and outside that, we also have some paragraph tags. So if you want to make stylings to this particular immediate sibling of this div, then you can use this symbol called plus operator. So you have a div, an immediate sibling of the div is this p tag, and you have like multiple like 5, 10, or 100 p tags. If you want only the first tag or immediate tag to be styled, you can use this combinator like plus. So this is one thing, and we have like so many combinators as well. So these are quite important. So you can explore them while you are learning the concepts. So this is regarding the combinators, and the other thing is like opacity. So the CSS and HTML concepts is also like vast. You have so many like thousands of elements, attributes. But in real time, you'd be using like only some like 50 to 100 more frequently. So most of the frequent elements are we are covering the most frequent ones. But if you want to gain more knowledge on all the elements, then you can go to like W3 schools or documentation, and you can learn those things as well. So now I'll try to explain the opacity. I'll just make use of the image and get rid of the styles. Yeah. If you go to your browser, you can see the image is being rendered here. So this opacity makes your image to be uh, blur, or I'll just show you practical. So you have the opacity value from 0 to 1. So 1 is the highest value. By default, the opacity would be 1, and 0 is the lowest value. So I'll just place the 0 here. You can see the image is not being visible here. So I'll just make it like 0.5. You can see a blur image of your a blur image is being displayed here. So in this way, you can make use of this opacity not only for images, you can use for other multimedia attributes as well. So for that, I'll just add a hover here. Hover is a pseudo element. So while you are hovering that particular image, it will change the opacity to 0.5. when it is in normal position, the opacity would be 1. So I'll just save this. So I am outside of this image. By default, the opacity would be 1. So while I try to hover on this particular image, you can see the opacity is being changed to 0.5. So in this way, you can see in some of the sites that the image would be uh, changing its position, like our opacity when while you're hovering. So this is one of the use case of that. So this is regarding the opacity. And you also have, like, I forgot to cover these units, so I'll just cover that before going. So in HTML, we have two types of units. One is like just use absolute units. Choose like- You have absolute like centimeters, and you also have pixels. I'll just show pixels, inches, and PT for points, and PC for pixels. So, but you will be frequently using this pixel, and you won't use the other things in real time because pixel gives an better advantage over compared to this because these elements would be behaving differently in some of the screen sections like tab, mobile devices, and other things. So you'll be frequently using this pixel. So this is one thing, and the other is relative position. Relative units. In this, you have like EM, element modifier, REM, VH, comma, VWidth, Vmin, comma, Vmax, and percentages. So if you want to design, I'll just show you. So if you want to design responsive design, like if you want a website to be utilized across all the devices like mobile, tablet, desktop, laptop, so you need to use these relative units because these elements like relative elements like EM, REM, percentage, VH, Vmin, so whatever the units that you use, it would be compatible with that particular element. So uh, for example, you are using these percentages. So if you keep like height 50% and width as 50%, so whatever the screen size would be like, whether it is mobile device or tablet, so it will take only the 50% of that particular device. So irrespective of the screens, it will take the limit that you give to that particular element. So 50% it will take the height and 50% of it, whether it use screen, mobile screen, tablet screen, or laptop screen. So similarly, this EM, REM, relative element modifier. So all these things is also similar to a percentage. But coming to the absolute units, so absolute units is like absolute to the particular screen. So if you give like 100 pixel as height, so irrespective of screen, in each and every screen, it would be like 100 pixels. So by this, you would miss the responsiveness. So it won't be compatible to the particular screen. So these pixels should be avoided when you are designing not only pixel, these absolute units need to be uh, used minimal when you are going through a responsive design. So this is used only when you want like small text or small button or any of the small elements to be designed or colored. Then only you need to use this. Or if you want some particular thing to be displayed in the similar size, whether you use screen like laptop, mobile, or any of the thing, then you need to go for this absolute units. So if you want to design a website like related to all the screens irrespective of that, you need to use this relative units. So you can explore these units as well. So these like quite uh, utilized units frequently. So you can go through these things. So I forgot to cover this in the first class. I just remembered it. So this is one thing. And we also have like border radius. So I forgot those things as well. I'll just take image itself. One. So if I go to image, we have a property called border radius. So this gives the radius. I'll just make 10 pixels present. So if you see here, you can see some 10% of your border is being uh, shifted from 0 to 10 pixel now. So I'll try to make it like 50 pixels. So you can see now, you can see a curve here. So your border is being reduced to 50 pixel from 0. And you can see some of the images would be like circle. So to achieve circle using border radius, you can use like 50 percentage. If you save this, you can see a particular image is being displayed into a circle or oval shape. So you can use this border radius 50% when you have like profile icons or any of the icons to be in circle shape, then you will be using this border radius concept. So this is one thing. And I'll try to background color it 20 pixels. So if you see here, I'm trying to make the border for this as well. Color, I'll just make use this 50. The border radius would be like 30 pixels. So you can see a radius is being changed for this text as well. So in this way, you can uh, make use of this border radius. So you also have like left, left, top right, and top bottom. So you can use those things as well, like border. So you have like border top left radius, border top right radius, and border bottom left, border bottom right. So all these things like border top, border bottom left, and border top right, and top, I mean bottom right. So these things, if you want to have different shades for the four sides, you can use that thing. So this is regarding the borders. So this one thing. And we also have like gradient colors. In color section we have another few design like linear gradient, radial gradient, and conic gradient. So I'll just make use of anything here. Just remove this thing. I'll make a div. I'll just make a container div. So I don't have nothing now, so I'll just try to design this div. So in this we have a property called background image. Background image is used to make use of these gradients. So I'll just use background image. So instead of URL, I'll just use linear gradient. So in linear gradient, you can give the different colors you want. So for example, I'll just give red and I'll just give yellow. So if I save this, I'll just try to give the height and width of this as well. And a pixel. So you can see the color is being displayed in the gradient form. So in the top, you have the red color and the bottom, you have yellow color. So this is nothing but a linear gradient. So you can also give uh, properties to this like two left, two right, two bottom. I'll give a comma, two right. So it will be aligned from left to right. So red color will be in the left and the yellow will be right. And you can also give to bottom, to top, so all other things. So this is regarding the Just go to bottom. So you can see top the red and yellow will be in the bottom. So this is one thing. And instead of this, I'll try to use radial gradient now. So in radial gradient, you can give the same similar colors like start color, end color, and before that you can give the positions as well, similar to linear. Now I'll just make use of this thing. You can give as many colors as you want. So I'll just give green as well. Okay, once I save this, you can see all the three colors are being rendered in this thing, this linear gradient. So I'll just go through the radial gradient. So linear gradient would be linear towards left, towards right, or bottom. But if you go to this radial gradient, you can see it would be displayed in the form of circles, like the outermost color, the yellow would be in the outermost, and the red and green. So similarly, if you add like n number of colors, everything would be curved into like circle forms, and it will be displayed in this way. So this is like radial gradient. And you also have like conic gradients. So I'll just use of this thing. So this you will be using like a linear and radial, but phonic you'll be using like minimal in your applications. I'll just say this. So it would be like a cone shape. Like once you remove the cone layer, then you'd be it would be wrapped from sideways. So similarly, this line you can wrap like a circle. So this is like conic uh, gradient. So this is one thing, and we have like shadow effects here. So I'll just try to use the shadow, box shadow for shadowing the element. I'll just make 10 pixels and 10 pixels. So here 10 pixel is the horizontal shadow, and the other 10 pixel is vertical shadow. So if you want like 50, so it would be like 50% 50 pixel shadow in the horizontal and 10 pixel shadow in the vertical. So I'll just use this. So before that, you will be also having the color for this. I'll just give blue. So you will be mostly seeing this box shadow in the cards. So we'll design one minimal card here. This is blue, and you can also give the blur effect for this. The blur effect is like I'll just show you maybe 5 pixel blur. So you can see the particular color is being blurred. So this is horizontal, this is vertical, and this is blur and the color. And we also have this spread radius. Spread radius is like uh, the size of the shadow in the decreasing mode. Like I'll just show you one example. So if you give positive here, it would increase the shadow size, and if you give like you can also give negative values here, it would decrease. I'll just show you here. So you can see uh, a particular shadow is being formed back of your card. So if you give like negative, so you can see the color is being dragged, like it would decrease to minimum. So this way you can give blur as well. So I'll just change this color to black. I'll just give 1 pixel, 1 pixel. I'll just save this so you can see a blur is formed across the. Just remove this. Maybe 10 pixels. So, you can also place the 0 pixel as well. So in this way you can form the color. So you can see this type of blurring effect in when while you're hovering some of the images or cards. So I'll just make this hover as well. So by default, it would be normal size. I'll just make use of these two things. So by default, the height and width would be present. While you're hovering, then the box shot would be given to that. You can see here, right? So this way, I'll make use of this thing usely. So we know that CSS would be like from top to bottom. So you need to give the top style here before that. So you have here. So similarly, so this way you can make use of this box shadow for cards purpose in you if you have any things. So this is regarding these things. So in next class we'll be focusing on transitions, animations, and other CSS effect, and then we'll be starting with the flexbox concept. So we'll be trying to cover the important concepts, and we'll try to close these tasks as well soon. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much for your time.
Hello.